My gut tells me that they were ambushed.
So, I had assumed this whole time for 6 months now that it happened in the middle of the night.
And now we know it was the middle of the day. Absolutely.
Broad daylight.
Broad day.
I don't want to get her involved in this. I don't want to ruin her life. Like it's something like this. I don't want her involved in this. Okay.
At some point, Chris locates what's called a dry bag.
Brian Laundrie's body has been found. Law enforcement had considered Laundrie the only person of interest in the murder of his fiancée, Gabby Petito.
You're the one that filed the missing persons report.
Yeah, and I'll totally come forward with that.
That's all it is the truth. So there's nothing to hide in that coroner's report. There's nothing to hide by not having Calli take a polygraph. And if the truth comes out, and this was a...
How do you deal with it? I had to sneak the other day when I was with Josie. I had to sneak and talk to him. I had to sneak and talk to him about his sister.
Makes me think the worst. Did you do that to all three of them?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We will be going over the Cassie Carli case, and I just wanted to thank all my moderators right off the bat. I really appreciate you guys, and I want to thank everyone who's watching on replay and everyone who's here now. Let me just say hello to everyone. Punksy, hello. Rebecca, RAS, Sky, CDT, thank you guys for being here. Sheila, hello. I really appreciate you guys being here. So in previous live streams, we've kind of gone into the background and the layout of the case. I'll give you a quick run through right now. So Cassie Carli was a 37-year-old mother to a 4-year-old daughter named Sailor, whom she shared custody with the father, who is Marcus Spanevelo. Marcus Spanevelo is currently in custody in Florida, and he is being charged with giving false information regarding an open investigation of her disappearance, tampering with evidence, and obstructing justice, I believe, or obstructing the investigation. And there will be more pending results that the sheriff has sort of insinuated, given the fact that we're just waiting on the toxicology to come back for the autopsy. So we had heard that there was no visible signs of trauma or a struggle on her body. So pretty much we are waiting on the toxicology to give us the manner of death and the cause of death. Hello, BLN. Thanks for being here. Pointer Lover. Thank you so much, guys. Muffy, so good to see you. So Sailor, the 4-year-old daughter that was the result of this relationship that Cassie had with Marcus, she is in Cassie Carli's family's care at this moment, and she's doing well. Now, the newest information coming out was that Marcus Spanevelo, his bail was set at $21,000. And a lot of people were sort of like, what the heck? That's really not that much money. Could he potentially bail out and then be a free man? There is actually a hold put on him, and this is coming from the Alabama authorities because he apparently has a previous speeding ticket. Let me share my screen too to give you guys something to look at. He has a previous speeding ticket that was never taken care of in Alabama. So they are actually, he wouldn't be able to be bonded out because there would be a hold on him by the authorities in Alabama. So according to Duty Ron, I'm not sure if anyone watches him, but he has been in contact with the Carli family, specifically Cassie Carli's sister, and pretty much, he's reassured his Cassie's sister that this is what this means, because according to him, she was a little, quote, freaked out by the low bail that was set, as it's, only $21,000. So in watching his live stream today, he talked about how he had spoke with Cassie Carli's sister and, reassured her this is just sort of procedural, like we have to wait, obviously, to charge him with additional charges. He is the only suspect that's mentioned and named in the, murder of Cassie Carli. So we just have to wait for science, pretty much. And yeah, I'm anxious to know the cause of death. Just to speculate, people have said it's possibly drugs that they used. Maybe she OD'd that way. We know from other cases and just in general that it takes very little for some of these drugs to kind of incapacitate someone. So, that of course is just speculation, and we will wait for everything to come out. So we did learn a lot of information from this affidavit, but at the same time, the affidavit is heavily redacted. Some of the redactions you could tell are, Cassie's name, her father's name, a sailor's name is redacted. So when I say blank, I'll play this clip, but then I did a pre-recording of me reading the affidavit and then some articles sort of explaining what was found in it. If I'm saying blank, it's literally because it's blacked out. So just bear with the pre-recorded reading of the affidavit. It's worth still listening to, I think, just because of the, it does give us some sort of dialogue in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have wasted my time to read it. But we do find out that he threw Cassie Carli's phone out the window, and he did that the day after she was reported missing.
About to receive these court documents within the last 30 minutes here, and it details why investigators charged Spanevelo with tampering with Cassie Carli's phone and giving false information to detectives. Now, the affidavit claims Spanevelo threw Cassie's phone out of the window of his truck when driving back to Panama City that night that Cassie disappeared. It says he told detectives, when detectives asked.
And yes, and for fair use purposes, I'll be pausing it and kind of talking. But yeah, Rebecca, that's a good point. Marcus never once mentioned, that because he gives a reason why he threw the phone. He says he didn't really care about her property. Not that it had anything to do with killing her, obviously. He's trying to keep it vague. But yeah, he never once mentioned to the authorities when they spoke to him that he threw her phone. It wasn't until they found out through a tip that Marcus told somebody that he threw her phone out. And then when he was confronted about it, he gave an excuse why he did it. But yeah, he was never once mentioned her phone when they were trying to find her, because she was reported missing. And then less than a week later, they found her in the shallow grave in the barn. And yes, it seems as though, from what we've looked at, Rebecca looked at it last night when I sent it to her, and then obviously when I read this, it seems like the timeline of when they did the custody exchange and all that, he had made stops and all that just weren't really adding up. Lots of things telling us that they have recorded interviews and surveillance. Yes, they talk about that in the affidavit too. So it's interesting, but like I said, there'll be a lot of times where you'll see it on the screen that it's blacked out, and then obviously I'll be saying blank.
Asked him why he told them he had to get rid of it. Now, text messages that we obtained and have reported before claimed that Spanevelo told Cassie's family she wanted to be dropped off in, quote, the middle of nowhere, Destin. Prosecutors say his information about her being dropped off was not corroborated. Now, in today's hearing, Spanevelo asked the judge to appoint him a public defender. The judge kept his bond at $21,000 for the 3 charges he faces. He still faces a hold out of St. Clair County, Alabama, for failing to appear for a speeding ticket. Prosecutors have not charged Spanevelo
And it's like, look at him here. I'll show the full clip too, but this is his first appearance in Florida court. And, when you're standing in front of the judge, you would think he'd be standing up straight, like not with his head in his hands. And I don't know, everything about him is just he's doing it the wrong way. And yes, Nicole, hello, he is so creepy. I agree. And no, Rebecca, no arrest for murder yet. They are waiting for toxicology and something more solid. So the cause of death and everything that I'm seeing, BLN, they're saying, hey Valerie, they're saying couple weeks, hopefully.
Spanevelo with Cassie Carli's death. Carli disappeared after a custody exchange on March 27th. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office says they found her body in a small grave inside an Alabama barn 6 days later. Prosecutors expect to file more charges after the medical examiner finishes Carli's autopsy. I'm told they're waiting on the toxicology reports for that. Now, Spanevelo is expected to return to court in just over 2 weeks on May 5th. Cassie's sister, Rayanne, told me yesterday their family is happy as long as he is behind bars. Now, for more on this report, we'll have it on our website and more on our show tonight at 10 o'clock. Live in the studio.
So, yeah, from my understanding, and they kind of talked about it a little bit through their own experience on duty, Ron, since they're retired law enforcement, he and his guest kind of spoke, just from their experience with coroners and all that. And since it's toxicology report, they take it from the deep tissue and your spleen, and these things will take time, but it seems as though they'll be able to get it back in a few weeks, they've said. Didn't a witness see him coming out of the barn or near the barn at least? Yeah, that was reported earlier on that I think it was a neighbor saw somebody who looked like Marcus coming out of the barn on the property that he was doing like the housework on, the renovations. And that was on the day after he had been spoken to by the police. Hi, Jody is cool. What about fingerprints in her car or his car? Because he said he did not want to go in or touch her car. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I was even thinking about like, well, what kind of DNA could they find? Would it be able to be explained? Like if there was DNA under her nails, that seems more like a defensive type situation. So hopefully something like that will be discovered. If it's just his hair in her car or her hair in his car, I mean, that I'm thinking like might not be solid enough. I don't know. We'll see. But from early on, the sheriff was saying he felt confident that they'd be building a strong case against him. So whatever the state can get him with in the most solid way, I'm certain that they're working towards that. It seems as though every step of this legal process with this guy, though, he's been very like non-cooperative. They even like upped one of his charges because he denied a DNA sample. So let me play my pre-recording for you guys, which shows the arrest affidavit. And thanks for being here, everyone. On or about March 27th, 2022, Marcus Spanevelo, blank, he is the last known person to see Cassie Carli alive after a scheduled custody exchange in a blank. Marcus knowingly and willfully violated Yes, Rebecca. At one point, he does stop and he buys a one of those pay-as-you-go phones, and that was one of the things in the timeline that pretty much wasn't adding up for law enforcement. It's spoken about in this. Yeah, Karen, a lot is redacted. Hi, Derek. Good to see you. So glad you made it. We are going over the Cassie Carli case, and this is the heavily redacted arrest affidavit that I recorded myself reading. So I'll continue. SS 918.13.1a, tampering with evidence, and FSS 837.055, false information to law enforcement by not disclosing pertinent information about where he stopped along his route of returning home to Panama City with blank later that evening, including throwing blank his vehicle. The facts containing this information for probable cause are as followed. On March 28, 2022, the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office received a complaint in reference to a missing/endangered person. Patrol deputies made contact with the complainant, who advised that his blank had not been heard from since the night before. Blank advised that on March 27, 2022, at exactly 1900 hours, Cassie left their residence at blank in order to pick up blank from Marcus Spanevelo. They blank meet at the blank located at blank, Florida, for the advised blank that he waited until 21:40 hours to check on messages and eventually got a text message from blank. Marcus is working on it. This affidavit is very heavily redacted, so please bear with me as I read through this. First, with blank car not working right, then said blank had an issue and asked me to see if I could fix it. As I'm trying to see what's wrong with blank, keep getting mad like I was trying to look at text messages, then asked for a ride home as we were getting close. Blank change, then asked me to drop off at blank. I told blank I wouldn't blank go like that. To which Marcus advises, I'm not good with names. I'm not sure if it was blank. Either way, blank didn't want to give me an address. Why would blank car be at my house? Blank asks where blank and blank. There is no further communications between Cassie and Marcus. Deputies attempt to make contact with Marcus. Sergeant Horn called 850/889/2394, which was the number blank had for Marcus, and spoke to a male who identified himself as Marcus. During their conversation, Marcus provided the same information that he provided in the text messages to blank. Marcus did not advise that blank was with him. Marcus made no mention of the location of Cassie's vehicle. Based on the circumstances, blank was entered as missing and endangered under suspicious circumstances. Detectives spoke with blank, who provided a record statement. Blank advised that she had spoken to blank Friday, March 25th, 2022. Blank informed us that Marcus had recently been served with paperwork in which gave Marcus a deadline to pay back around $6,000. Expressed being blank was aware of this information. Blank did have a roommate at the blank from blank since March 25th. On March 29, 2022, I, along with Detective Mitchell Kelly, traveled to blank and made contact with Marcus and during a recorded interview with Marcus, he gave the following account. On Sunday, March 27, 2022, he met with blank at the blank near blank in with him for blank, but at blank, Marcus stated blank claimed was having blank, asked Marcus blank, and he replied that he was not a mechanic and that he never touched, look at, or got in blank. I asked about blank, and he stated he attempted to look at a blank, but blank from him. He stated there was an altercation at this time. He asked to speak about that, and he stated blank had blank, but would not further elaborate. He continued on and stated blank went with him to get blank, and upon blank was asked to blank and blank to see in this state. Marcus explained blank was hyper, but this was not blank normal. Arrived in blank, refused to provide blank, and told him to pull the truck over. Marcus described that blank was in the passenger seat, and he further described that blank attempted to blank upon exiting the vehicle. He said this was sudden and stopped in the road where blank jumped out and attempted to blank. Marcus stated it was late and he did not want to blank to take blank out on the side of the road. He said he drove away and left blank. He said he kept blank and continued to his house in Panama City, Florida, approximately 1 hour to 1.5 hour drive from blank. Marcus stated he arrived at the home in Panama City at around 11:20 p.m. The following day, March 28, 2022, he left Panama City at around 4:20 a.m. to travel to blank for work. On March 30th, 2022, I was provided with the information that an anonymous tip stated Marcus had spoken to a person and told them he had located blank in his truck and threw it out the window. Based upon the further information, Marcus was re-interviewed. During this course of this interview, I confronted Marcus about this information. Marcus admitted that he had possession of the blank until he did not keep the blank to later return it to blank, and he stated he did not care about the blank properties, so he chose to throw it out the window. He gave an approximate location of where it occurred. During this interview, Marcus was asked about where he traveled after blank got into his vehicle. At blank, Marcus insisted that he drove to blank in his vehicle without stopping in blank. The only place Marcus said he may have stopped at was at a gas station in blank to get a drink. Meanwhile, investigators followed up on this information. Surveillance video was located from a condo located across the street from where the blank occurred and where the blank was located 2 days later. The surveillance shows a black truck pulling a large black trailer. Marcus is the registered owner of a 2016 black Chevy 2500 and a 2018 black cargo trailer. Blank is then observed pulling up to the truck and trailer. For approximately 30 to 40 minutes, both vehicles stay stationary until a person who appears to be tall and clearly not blank is seen walking from the passenger side / trailer side door and around to the driver's side of the truck. You see the trunk's parking lights flash as if the truck was being unlocked. The person believed to be Marcus, based upon his height in relation to the truck, is seen going to the driver's side of the blank vehicle where he opens the door. He then leans in the driver's side and the headlights to blank vehicle turn off and the truck and trailer soon pull away. Marcus denied touching blank vehicle in any way. Detectives verified that blank was a separate location. Surveillance video then shows Marcus leaving blank in the direction of blank. Just before leaving the blank, Marcus stops and makes a purchase at a gas station. This was verified through surveillance video and bank records obtained through the subpoenas. This information was also not disclosed while speaking with Marcus on the 29th or the 30th. Detectives located video surveillance at Blank, Florida, minutes after leaving Blank. While reviewing video footage, Marcus's truck and trailer are observed traveling Blank at approximately 21:08 hours. While retrieving additional footage, Marcus is seen making a U-turn into the Blank parking lot. Marcus drives near an external camera, which shows him driving the truck, and there is clearly no one in the passenger seat. He is then seen entering the Blank. They are in the store for approximately 15 minutes before making a purchase, which confirmed to be a pay-as-you-go cellular phone, and exiting the store. Marcus is then seen traveling Blank at approximately 21:42 hours. In that video, Blank is not seen in the vehicle or inside the store. In Blank, detectives located video surveillance which shows the same black truck and trailer traveling through without stopping. Marcus' information about her being dropped off was not corroborated. Deputies with the Walton County, Florida Sheriffs followed up the tip about the Blank and recovered a Blank believed to be Blank in the vicinity of Marcus claimed he threw the phone out. The surveillance video has been located of Marcus, however, Blank is never seen. The last time Blank located is verified when Blank arrives at the Blank. It appears Marcus is the person who shuts off and secures Blank before leaving. The information about Blank was not provided during any of the interviews conducted with Marcus on the 29th or the 30th of March. This information also accounts for some of the missing time frame information of what he did while traveling to his residence in Blank. On March 31st, 2022, I was contacted by a cooperating individual advising that they had recently spoken with Marcus via phone. During this conversation, Marcus made statements that somehow law enforcement found out he threw the phone out of his truck. When Marcus was asked why he threw the phone, he replied stating he had to get rid of it. I respectfully request a warrant for the arrest of Marcus Spanevelo for knowing and willingly violating FSS 918.13.1A, tampering with evidence, and FSS 837055, false information to law enforcement by not disclosing pertinent information regarding disappearance, which greatly hindered the attempts in location, last known whereabouts to include throwing her phone out the vehicle. Court documents reveal new details about the days after Cassie Carli disappeared in late. Okay, pardon me. First off, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for listening to me read that, even though there was a lot of blanks. Sorry about that. But I feel like a lot of the blanks were just redacting out like Cassie's name and her father's name and Sailor's name. And for some reason they blacked out like the talk about the phone. So reading between the lines and with the help from, my mods and just, some of you guys in chat, it seems like the phone, all right, so him throwing the phone was brought to law enforcement by a third party tip. So Marcus had, confided in somebody who told law enforcement that he threw Cassie's phone, and he told this person, quote, he had to get rid of it. However, we find out, and during all this and during the affidavit, we see that he was asked by law enforcement why he threw that phone out once he was confronted by that. And he told law enforcement that he didn't care about her property. So, he tossed it. Well, he never told law enforcement about tossing her phone at all when he had spoken to them, prior to this tip being called in. So obviously, red flag. Through this arrest affidavit, we also kind of find out that the timeline from what Marcus has told law enforcement, they said, quote, missing time frame. It seems like he was just very vague or just very not clear about certain things. And then they end up catching him on CCTV footage and just other things that contradict his timeline. That was the gist that I got from that. I don't know if you guys kind of got that too, but for real though, thanks for reading that for us. Yeah, no problem. There were times where I wanted to fill in the blank, like with the name of the restaurant or the address or whatever, because he lives in this that Palm area, I forget. But I'm like, I'm not gonna just fill in information if I'm not 100% on it. So it seems like the article that I kind of go into reading here in this pre-recording, it kind of goes into more of reading between the lines too. So it's just kind of going through it a little bit more clearly too. So let me see what else was kind of brought up there. We hear that there's a black trailer that he owns and everything's registered in his name, and a black truck that he owns that's registered in his name, and those vehicles and the trailer is seen on CCTV footage. So it seems like they have some evidence of kind of linking him to the person in the footage. At one point they blacked out saying that I think it was supposed to say that it appeared to be a man's figure, like wasn't a woman's figure, but they blacked it out. But I think they were trying to say that they saw a man that looked like Marcus walk around the truck. At one point in the affidavit, it talks about it, but it's redacted. But let's see. So like we had said earlier, he refused to give the DNA swab, but that's fine that he refused it because they can get a court order. So he's just being difficult. Thank you, Derek, so much. As always, thank you, Amber and Kelly, for taking us through these cases. No problem. I mean, it's almost like I've been saying, it's another sad DV situation, and it's just kind of a mystery with this one because they've said even in Duty Ron, if it was a strangulation or if it was obviously stabbing or gunshot wound, like we would have already had the cause and manner of death by now, but it's kind of a mystery still. And I think he thought he was crafty, but he's not, obviously. Thank you for all the blinking. That was a lot for you. Yeah, it was like when I was done recording and I was like 13 minutes. Holy cow. But it's all right. It's part of reading the arrest affidavits is just part of laying this all out. And some of this information, a lot of it will be coming from Florida, and they're very open with their information flow to the public. So I'm assuming everything is going to be shared with us. Hello, Mia Moore Michelle. All right, let me get back. Okay, so these pre-recordings are just sort of, as of today, updated articles talking about the arrest affidavit and his $21,000 bail, etc. March. Santa Rosa County Sheriff investigators received an anonymous tip 3 days after Carli's disappearance that Marcus Spanevelo, the father of her 4-year-old daughter, had her phone and threw it out. Spanevelo was also the last one to see Cassie Carli alive. Investigators re-interviewed Spanevelo, and he admitted to having her phone until March 28th when he threw it out the window of his truck. When asked why he did not keep it to return it to her later, he said he did not care about her property, so he chose to throw it out, according to a warrant affidavit. A person reached out to detectives saying they recently spoke to Spanevelo on March 31st. Marcus Spanevelo told the person on the phone that law enforcement found out he threw her phone from his truck. When asked on the phone call why he threw it, he said he had to get rid of it. And that's what the document in the affidavit states. Spanevelo told deputies he let Carli out of his truck and that was the last time he saw her, but information about her being dropped off was not corroborated according to the affidavit. Spanevelo was extradited to Santa Rosa County from Tennessee. While he was being booked into jail, investigators said he refused to give a DNA swab, which is required by law. He was also charged with refusing to provide a DNA sample and was given a $1,000 bond. Spanevelo is also charged with tampering with evidence, providing false information to law enforcement, and obstructing justice. Cassie Carli's autopsy was performed in Huntsville on April 4th, but those results still have not been released. At last check, St. Clair County's deputy coroner said the coroner's office was still waiting on a toxicology report before releasing autopsy results. Spanevelo has not yet been charged with the murder, but Santa Rosa County Sheriff Bob Johnson has alluded the charge is pending.
This is the first appearance. Let's see.
So I just wanted to thank Michelle for your membership. I appreciate you very much. And yes, I shared the family's link, the GoFundMe, which is for Sailor and, you know, her getting therapy and whatever they need to give her any type of comfort and normal upbringing. Because now, you know, her father is not available and, you know, he doesn't need to be around her. And the mother is obviously gone. So I have that in my description box for anyone who'd like to donate to that. And hello, Gemini Moon. And what? Oh, Rebecca, she's always joking around that it's like Charlie's Angels, but Amber Angels. Yes, Sheila, I agree. Thank you, CDT, for the super sticker. All right, so that was just me reading like an updated article from today. And then this obviously is his first court appearance in Florida, which was, I believe, filmed yesterday. So I'll just finish this little clip for you.
So each bond will remain the same for each case. There are conditions of bond set by the circuit judge on case number 22491 CF. So conditions will be, sir, you'll not engage in any criminal activity, you'll not commit any acts or threats of violence, you will have no contact with any of the witnesses or the family of Cassie Carli. You will not possess any weapons or firearms. Okay, you'll not leave Santa Rosa, Escambia, Okaloosa, or Walton County.
Judge, that should have been Bay County.
There's also Bay County listed.
Yes.
There's going to be an active GPS monitor, hookup on release. It says active state. Who are they asking to have the monitor for? Is that for the family?
Yes, sir.
All right, there'll be a 2,500 foot exclusion zone. All right, say that.
Marcus Spanevelo appeared. Okay. So that was his first court appearance in Florida. That took place yesterday. That was the judge setting all his bail and his bonds, and it totaled at $21,000. We talked about earlier that regardless if he ever made that bail, he, even though the judge was listing off, he would wear a bracelet, he's not to have contact with the family, etc., that's just procedural. They know that with his hold on him from Alabama authorities, that even if he was to get that bail, they would put a hold on him and he still cannot bond out. Then Alabama would set a bond or whatever, I believe. So that was just a procedural thing. He's not going to bail, or he's not going to be walking free pretty much. And they'll get the autopsy and toxicology results back in time. That's the, at least, confidence that Duty Ron and his guest were pretty much saying, that it'll all take place. Things are gonna get upgraded soon. They have confidence, and I have confidence also, hopefully. Sorry, but let me just see chat. He looks standoffish. Yeah, he had a ticket for speeding, the idiot, and he never took care of it. Hello, everyone. I watched this, and his arrogance makes me absolutely sick. I agree, Delana. Like, it was just like, why is he slumped over? I can't pull up those membership comments, but Derek, your comment about him, like, slunched over and his posture, like, I totally agree. It just looks absolutely like he just can't be bothered. I heard somebody said that earlier. He does not look bothered at all. So disrespectful and arrogant. That is a guilty man knowing his life is over. So did the ex-boyfriend actually murder Cassie? He has not formally been charged for that yet, because we're waiting on the autopsy results, but he is the only suspect listed. So it's not looking good for him. I believe they said, and I don't know if I'm wrong, that he got a public defender, maybe. That might be in the article that is about to be read here. So after reading through, or after that court appearance, I've decided to add another pre-recorded article kind of explaining more of that court appearance. So I will play that for you guys. No reason to murder your ex for money, period. Exactly. Like, I don't understand, like, his end goal. And people said that he planned to flee the country with the baby. Like, what? I'm curious, what they found at his property. Like, were there bags packed to insinuate that he was going to be leaving? But at the same time, everyone was saying that he did this because he couldn't risk losing his license for his job. Well, which is it? Did he need his license for his job? So he was, because if he didn't pay those court fees that were almost $6,000, he was going to lose his license. And everyone was saying that he depends on that and this and that. And I'm thinking, okay, I thought he was going to leave the country. So I don't know. I'm curious what the defense and all that will be, because everyone seems pretty confident that a good case will be built and he will be brought to justice, hopefully. Didn't know what Oh, that about the court proceedings, the $6,000, and how it would take away his license if he didn't pay that within 30 days or whatever. Hello, Roxanne. Okay, let me play this. In Santa Rosa County Court Tuesday morning, where a judge set his bond at $21,000. Spanevelo is charged in the disappearance of Florida woman Cassie Carli, whose body was recovered in a grave inside a barn in Spanevelo, Alabama, in early April. Spanevelo is currently charged with tampering with evidence, obstructing a criminal investigation, and obstructing justice. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office says he may face more charges in the case pending the results of Carli's autopsy. A judge on Tuesday ordered that Spanevelo post $21,000 bond. He would be fitted with a GPS monitor and not allowed to leave Santa Rosa. He also must surrender his passport, not possess any weapons, and have no contact with Carli's family or witnesses in the case. Sergeant Rich Alloy with the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office says if Spanevelo's posts bond, he would stay in Santa Rosa County Jail to face the extradition process regarding a holdout of St. Clair County, Alabama. Spanevelo has an active warrant out of St. Clair County for failing to appear in court for a speeding ticket in December. If Spanevelo posts bail and St. Clair County doesn't extradite him within 30 days, Assistant State Attorney Mark Elderman says Spanevelo would be released under the conditions set Tuesday. Elderman added that if Spanevelo is eventually extradited to Alabama, he could post bail there if allowed by a judge. Spanevelo's next court appearance in Santa Rosa County is May 5th at 8 a.m. He asked to be represented by a public defender. Cassie Carli went missing after a scheduled custody exchange of her 4-year-old daughter with Spanevelo at Navarre Beach in late March. Tennessee authorities arrested Spanevelo 5 days later before finding Carli's body in Alabama the next day. Okay. Let me pull up Twitter. I know that I just checked for updates and there was none. But yeah, it just clarified there he does have a public defender. And yeah, I don't know. What are you guys thinking? RAS said something. For some reason, it can appear to be about the money, but it is really about the fact that they are being ordered to pay the money. It then being about control rather than cash itself. Yeah, and this guy seems like a controlling narcissist. Like, I guess he tried to get back with Cassie, according to Cassie's sister, and it wasn't reciprocated. And you know, I just feel like a lot of stuff was spinning out of his control. Like you said, being ordered to pay that. Hello, crazy crime chick. No way. How can they not see he's the devil? I think this is just going to be a part of the process, and they're going to be charging him very shortly and upgrading the charges, I believe. I have faith. But nothing updated today other than everything that we've brought you already here. But let me just put her picture up. And there's a lot of news in Brazil covering this because that's apparently where he was from. So I don't know. I was surprised to see a lot of stuff on Twitter coming up from Brazil. Oh, I'm so glad, Pointer Lover, that you did. That's good. I'm glad. And anyone else, the link is in my description box for the GoFundMe for Sailor. Exactly. All about building that rock solid case. That's what the state needs. And I'm certain this is going to go hopefully smoothly. I mean, like I said, he's the only suspect that's listed for her. How can they screw this up? Yeah, I believe murder charges are coming too, for sure. For sure. But what are you guys thinking? Besides the solid case being need to be made, I don't understand like the whole throwing her phone and then telling somebody about it. I'm curious who that tip was, and I want to know more about like people who knew him. He is so smug and arrogant. I can't stand it. I know. That's like every step of the way being difficult in the court process. How he waived extradition at first, and it's like that seemed like a pointless thing, and people have talked about how his lawyers must have just said like there's no point in doing that, you're going to be brought back here, whatever. So it's just, and then denying the DNA swab, everything's just been difficult from this guy. I hope he doesn't bond out, get that speeding ticket squashed, and bailing to Brazil. That might be tough getting him back. I hope not, too. Does he for sure have that dual citizenship? I'm not sure how that works with Brazil and our extradition laws with Brazil, because I know every country is different, like when it comes to being extradited back to the US for whatever reason. So I'm curious. He makes me want to, yeah, those emojis say it all. Trying to get sympathy points off the baby, it's all BS. I don't understand what he was thinking. Like, it just seems like 50% planned out. It's disturbing because just think about it. The difficulty, what he has been able to accomplish, because again, we found her fairly quickly, etc., but we don't know the cause and manner yet. So like whatever he's planned to accomplish so far, hopefully will get figured out, but it's just like, wow, he thought he was slick, but not so much. Mexico won't extradite if you have a chance for the death penalty. Interesting. I never knew that. And I think in my research for Summer Wells, I looked at like Philippines extradition. Yeah. And it was pretty much saying that they do extradite from Philippines for whatever they needed. So I'm curious what Brazil is. He has family in Brazil and they will protect him. In my opinion, he is a huge, huge flight risk. So, yeah, and you know what I noticed? Although didn't they say they pulled in that court session there, they said that they took his passport. The fact that he said his passport was expired. Yeah, so then he wasn't planning on leaving with Sailor. Oh, he claimed he lost his passport? That I have not gotten any clarity on. If anyone knows, let me know. Even if you watch this on replay, comment below and let us know. He lies. Yeah, clearly. It's just crazy because, they met on a dating site. And Sailor was something that came positive out of, it seems like a really bad, just emotionally abusive relationship. And he was never physically abusive before. So seeing how they haven't come back and said that it was like strangulation or stabbing or anything clearly physical, it's like he has the capability to be very calculated, it seems, with his emotional and mental abuse that he probably put her through, but he won't be the one to put his hands on her, So whatever it was, I think that it was done, I don't know, possibly a drug. It's just interesting, like, to be angry enough to end her life, but then not be angry enough to like physically do it. I don't know. Like, I know this is true crime, so it's okay to kind of discuss this with you guys. And I know you guys won't think I'm weird, but to me, that's sort of interesting. Like, I'm just interested to see that it wasn't something physical where he was like really rageful and strangled her like we've seen in other cases. It was something where now they're kind of like, okay, we got to dig deeper and do this tissue toxicology or whatever they're doing to pull from her spleen, maybe, whatever. So it's all like a psychological thing that interests me. Why some killers choose whatever manner of doing it. It's just true crime, I guess. One of two. He stumbled on the judge's question about the U.S. passport. Was that in that little clip that I played? Because I'll replay it and pay closer attention. Hi, Era. Hello. Getting out of the U.S. without a passport is easy. It's getting back in the U.S. You need one. True. Although I've never tried to get out of the U.S. without a passport. I've always just had the passport. But it is always harder getting back in. Yeah, we are weird together. Totally. I'm okay with that. I think so. I came in on the end of what you were reading. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find... No. On or about... Oh, hold on. In this?
You will have no contact with any of the witnesses or the family of Cassie Carli. This is the first appearance. Let's see. So each bond will remain the same for each case. There are conditions of bond set by the circuit judge on case number 22491 CF. So conditions will be, sir, you'll not engage in any criminal activity, you'll not commit any acts or threats of violence, you will have no contact with any of the witnesses or the family of Cassie Carli. You will not possess any weapons or firearms. Okay, you'll not leave Santa Rosa, Escambia, Okaloosa, or Walton County.
Judge, that should have been Bay County.
There's also Bay County listed.
Yes.
There's going to be an active GPS monitor, hookup on release. It says active state. Who are they asking to have the monitor for? Is that for the family?
Yes, sir.
All right, there'll be a 2,500-foot exclusion zone. All right, say that.
Marcus Spanevelo appeared in. Okay, so I see what you're saying about the passport. So I definitely think that he could potentially be a flight risk, like you were saying. Hopefully the hold from the other authorities in Alabama will solidify him staying put. But we've seen some crazy things. So who knows, right? Who knows, guys? Hopefully that will... The Alabama authorities are working with the Florida authorities. So I'm sure they're aware of everything going on. I'm hoping that they get the results back from the toxicology before this guy gets that chance to go, and bail out and whatever, like it said right there that he's only supposed to remain in the counties in Florida that were listed. So yeah, I do too, for sure, Mia Moore. The sister talks to Duty Ron, and he was saying, quote, she was freaked out when she had seen how low the bail was set. So he had like this conversation with her, reassuring her that this hold from Alabama authorities would keep things solid as far as him remaining behind bars. So yeah, I agree, Delana. I hope he rots. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that we should be too worried about the low bail, although I definitely see the concern. And who knows what kind of money his family has. I don't know. I haven't really looked into his family and where he comes from. It's just kind of unraveling, I think, kind of quick. So everything will be revealed. Right. If it wasn't for the hold, I'm not sure if they would have set it that low. But again, who knows? Who knows? Because I'm wondering if they, like I said, they're working with Florida for this, investigation. And I'm wondering if they just know that the hold was going to be there, so it didn't matter if they set it low. You know what I mean? So if the hold wasn't there, maybe it would have been set higher. I guess we'll never know. Yeah, I think I think the murder charges are coming very soon, for sure. Yeah, I think they are freaking out pretty much. That's what the sister had said. Because this guy, he's obviously not well. Not right in the head. Dirtbag, pretty much, like authorities called him. But that's pretty much where we're at, guys, with this. Like I said, the autopsy will be revealing a lot of stuff. Not only will it reveal, the cause and manner of death, but it will also reveal murder charges on this guy, I believe. So we will talk very soon. If I don't do another live stream with the next update, then I will post whatever updates on the community page and whatever. Hi, Amanda L. We're just ending, but it's good to see you. I actually had, not only did Valerie ask me when part 7 of the Chris Watts prison re-listen is, but I had some subscriber comment on part 6 and ask when part 7 was. So I'll be doing that live stream, I think, tomorrow night. So we'll get that done completely, which was a 3-year mark re-listening to the prison interview. So that'll probably be tomorrow night. And yeah, any other updates on other cases, just check back. If you don't get the notifications, just keep checking back and on the community pages as well. The Facebook groups also will give you kind of updates when we go live and all that. So check those also. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, XOXO. Justice for Cassie and prayers for her family, XOX. I agree. It's definitely going to be played out in front of our eyes. If it's Florida, right? Definitely get some video of this trial. Although, what do you guys think? Plea deal? I definitely will, Trio. Definitely will. But yeah, thank you everybody for being here. We will talk soon. And yeah, that's it. So thanks again. And yeah, bye guys.